All right. Let's see. All right, we should be good, I think. What was this? All right, mic check. Mic check one. Mic check one. Hello? Hello. Can you hear me now? All right. Where'd you go? Oh. Hello. 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 Sweet. So, did you guys go hunting this morning? All right. Anyways, for 2026, what are you guys doing? Are you after ducks or squirrels or deer? Freezing. Yeah. What are you doing while you're freezing? Gotcha. That slingshot thing that I was watching last night was pretty cool. So it might actually be something that I look into. Maybe that's some content ideas for the channel. So, well, it seems like so we had some trouble on the first stream. Wasn't getting the right audio. I went and got my mic, my external mic. So hopefully that does a little bit better. The first stream, I pretty much just talked about kind of how we got to this point. 2025 saw a lot of growth in the channel. I actually started putting a little bit of effort into um, the channel, hoping to see it grow. I found that kind of archery was my lane that I wanted to go in, and that I had some experience in and a little bit of knowledge. So I wanted to try to be a voice and help teach what I know about archery. I'm still learning. I've been doing this for several years now and still learning quite a bit. So as I come across different things or stuff that I have tried over the years and it's always worked, looking to share with the channel. But so that's kind of the lane that we're going to stay in for 2026. I'm still going to do some more outdoor content. Like I'm thinking through what a turkey hunting video might look like. Got a couple of different areas that I can turkey hunt for. Might do a little bit of a how-to on that as well. But we'll see. Archery is definitely going to be the big push for the year, because I've also heard from like some of the archery insiders saying that there's a need for more content, especially in the target world, and that's kind of what I enjoy doing the most. So, but we'll see where where it takes us. So, we did have a couple of questions that people had commented on that short that I had uh, posted about a month or so ago. So, I want to talk about those for a minute. Let me get them pulled up. So this question says, does it affect both performance when you shoot lower poundage? Meaning, is a 70-pound bow less efficient when it's cranked down to 60 pounds? Just from a mechanical standpoint, I would say yes. When those bows are designed, they're designed for a specific poundage. So when you order it, you can get 50, 60, 70, 80 pounds. And when that 70-pound bow is cranked down to 60 pounds, I think it's going to be less efficient because it's not designed for the 70-pound limbs, or it's not designed for the 60-pound limbs that's on it. I think for it to be most efficient, like you're getting the most speed, all of those types of things that you are getting, or you're losing some efficiency with that, and you see that in speed, and it affects a little bit of your draw length, some of your let off. Last night, my target bow, I decided to crank it down to 50 pounds, and like it's just a matter of fact that I'm going to lose some speed, lose some efficiency with that. How much feet per second would you lose? Well, when the manufacturers put out their like info card with the bow, most of the bows are designed around 70 pounds, 28-inch draw length at 80% let off. So the feet per second rating that you get on that info card is based off of that. It's not a whole lot. It's about, well, it says 2 to 3 feet per second from 70 pounds to 60 pounds. So not a whole lot. You'll see just as much variances going from different point weight to different fletching, different lengths of arrow. So like there's a lot of variables there. In some ways, bows are really efficient machines, but in some ways they're not. So the littlest variance can cause you to have some lose some efficiency there. He also asked, what is the ideal FOC or front of center percentage for distance shooting? Is there an ideal percentage of close range? Front of center is a really hot topic. So that's front of center is how much weight forward you have in your arrow. The idea is the more weight forward you have in your arrow, the better penetration you're going to get. I think that is true to a point, but I think where a lot of guys are going wrong with it is they're going too much into the weight part of it, and it's going to kill your speed. Again, it goes back to that efficiency standpoint. I've shot up to like 11 or 12% front of center, but I was also shooting like 250 feet per second. So it's kind of a trade-off type deal. I think to maximize both speed and penetration, you need probably, I would shoot for like 9 or 10% front of center. And like, so you're going to add more weight to your insert, more weight to your point weight. That's going to give you that. And you're going to try to not put as much weight in the back of your arrow, and that's going to give you more leverage. So that's what I would do. I think that there's a middle ground to be found in both. I think you need speed and penetration. And maybe that's why some guys are shooting like 80 pounds. I am not, because I want to be able to use my arms when I'm 70 years old. So that's my take on it. That can be a really big rabbit hole for some folks. Find the middle ground, get speed and penetration, and be all right. The next question says, for someone who can afford a flagship bow, how often do you recommend an upgrade that's, quote, worth it? Obviously subjective. How many years is it before you see real change and innovation from one generation to the next? That's a great question. For someone who can afford a flagship bow, how often do you recommend an upgrade? That's a personal preference. I think as long as you can stay within some of the most recent technology that manufacturers are doing. Yeah, Chad might have the award for the oldest bow. But I think as long as you can stay within some idea of the most recent technology, like I'm shooting last year's flagship bow, I didn't see a big change from this year's technology from last year's. The one thing that Elite done that's the bow that I'm shooting, they put a new tuning feature. Sorry about that. They put a new tuning feature in the cables. I didn't see that it was that big of an upgrade. I might later, but that might be a reason to upgrade for some. It wasn't for me. I didn't see a $1,200 difference with that feature. So I would say upgrade as often as you can and you want to. I don't think it's worth going into debt for. Especially the used market is a really great resource to. There's a lot of guys that get bows and try them and don't like them and get rid of them pretty quickly. So check out the used market for sure. There is a guy pretty local to where I'm at. He will get discontinued models. And by discontinued, I mean only just a couple of years old. And he sells them at a discounted price. Well, they're new bows, but at a discounted price. So he's definitely somebody else you can check out, especially if you're interested in upgrading but don't want to spend the money on a flagship bow. The second part of that question, how many years is it before you see a real change in motive or innovation from one generation to the next? That differs from bow maker to bow maker. Some years they'll have a huge jump in innovation just in a year's time, and then sometimes it's several years. So it's definitely something that you keep an eye on, or that I keep an eye on as they start putting out their new bows towards the end of the year. Yeah, finding parts and strings is important for someone shooting older stuff. And even though a manufacturer will discontinue something, you can still get parts for them. If you have a warranty issue, you can usually contact them, and you can take it to a dealer or some sort of bow shop, and they can get parts for you pretty easily, more easily than you would think. I know several other people who have shot older bows and have been able to get cams and strings pretty easily. Strings, I would say, is probably the easiest thing to find, because all you need to know is your length and your weight. So I had one more question that Caleb, if you're watching, sent a couple weeks ago. And Caleb had actually reached out and was asking about how to get involved into local 3D shoots, tack, stuff like that. So let's see if I can find it. So his question was, where do you find like 3D shoots? A lot, especially with the ASA. Most states have a Facebook page of sorts where they put that information out. Like here in Kentucky, they've sent out a preliminary schedule out, and that the schedule that they send out has the dates and the clubs that they're going to shoot. Later on, and they said this in the post, they said that, sorry, they have said that they'll put the, goodness, they, well, all right. Sorry about that. They put the Kentucky ASA director puts all of the different clubs' information out as those qualifiers come around. So, like, we have one of our first qualifiers here in the States. I think it's like the second or third, probably the second week in February. When that date comes closer, they'll even make it like an event that you can hit interested, going, whatever, and it'll have all the details there. And they do that for everyone. So that will get you plugged into different clubs. Like the club that I'm shooting at here, where I'm at, like they have a Facebook page and they post every Friday that they're having their indoor league. So find those clubs. I think the Facebook page is a great place for that, to get you connected with those clubs. Caleb also asked, how do you get involved in like the TAC shoots? TAC was something that I tried for the first time last year, and it was a lot different than I thought it was, especially as you see it kind of on the YouTube stuff. It's a pretty physical event. But TAC is pretty similar in some ways, like the local 3D shoots. TAC will you have to register for the TAC events in advance. Those registrations open quite a bit earlier than the shoots, so you will have to go in and you have to wait in a queue to get your tickets. It's a little bit more difficult to do the TAC events, but they're fun. I would like to do another one, and would like to do another one in a different state, maybe. So that was all the questions that I have that came in prior to this. If you all have any more, you can go ahead and put those in the chat. How has the squirrel hunting been, Chad? Have you guys seen anything? No, I see it there now. Where did you guys go? Where did you guys go squirrel hunting? One of Caleb's spots. Well, I need more for my squirrel and dumpling recipes, so just keep that in mind. All right, guys. Well, I don't plan to keep this too long. This was more of just an update of the channel. Was hoping to just kind of update everybody with what the plans were, kind of how 2025 went, and that's about it. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to hop off here. I know it's early. I think my daughter is just waking up, so we'll will go and live the dad life, something that I enjoy a whole lot. So I'm going to give about 30 more seconds for a question, and then I'm going to hop off here. See you guys. All right. Peace out.